So, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to ICC Biz Live. This is the 14th episode, and today we've got a special guest. We've got Madam Sandeepa Kanitkar, who happens also to be the chairman and managing director of CAN Biosys. Incidentally, she also is the reigning president of Biological Agri Solutions Association of India. Thank you very much, ma'am, for taking out the time and joining us in this episode.
Welcome.
Uh,
Pleasure.
yeah, thank you, ma'am. The theme today is improving farmers' toolbox with biologics for their profits. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're generally talking about, increasing the use of biologicals in Indian agriculture for the farmers and how they can adapt them, in their daily cultivation practices across the country, across various crops, various agroclimatic zones, mitigating, environmental challenges and all that kind of stuff. So, ma'am, thank you very much once again to join in. Madam happens also to be, incidentally, an industrial biotechnologist, if I'm not wrong,
Yes, microbiologist. I mean,
microbiologist.
okay.
No, no, yeah, please. I mean, it will be nice if you could
Yeah.
just give a little brief about yourself, ma'am. It will be nice.
Okay. So I'm actually an industrial microbiologist. So I did my post graduation in industrial microbiology, and then trying to work with farmers and the microbes and see how the microbes can work for the farmers, because this is an era I call for biologics, because if something is not working, then we try and look for new solutions. And I believe that the diversity of microbes which is there on this earth, there are many, in fact, solutions to the problems which right now agriculture is facing, and we can find those solutions in the way microbes they inhabit many stressed, you can say, niches in the world, and we definitely can learn from them, and we can definitely decide as to how to use them for agriculture. And that is a big challenge, as to how to impart the good properties microbes have and create a proper ecosystem for them and make them work. So in fact, we should make the microbes work for us. That is what I believe, and that is where the biological field is coming up in a very big way. And I'm happy to be a part of it when the so many things are happening in such short period of time, I believe.
Yeah, thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you. We look forward to, the further continuing our talk with you. Ma'am, just one thing comes to my mind that if we're trying to redesign the farmer's toolkit, uh, what are the main reasons to do so? I mean, weren't we doing all right already? We've attained food security from way back, from what we were, having the facing the hardships in the late 1950s or so. So, what makes it necessary to just redesign their toolkit or so?
See, if you see the profitability of the profitability of the farmers is not increasing, even though sometimes at times the yields may be increasing. So the question is that why is so many hardships are being faced by the farmers, and why is the profit not increasing? So if you are trying to use many technologies, if the farmer is trying to use so many products which are right now available in the market, then what is the issue? The issue is that the degradation of the soil, which is a principal kind of a source for him to grow his food, and he will definitely try to maximize the use of that principal resource and make the most of it. So as far as possible, the experimentation which he carries out on his field, that is a very you can say expensive kind of a activity for him. This is because if you see the farmers life span, maybe that is of may 50 years or 60 years, and if he has to experiment, he only has 50 times to experiment, and if he misses one experiment, then again he has to go to the drawing board, and that results in degradation of his capital. So
Right.
the resources which the farmer has to make a able decision, that is very much limited, and that in fact is a problem for increasing the profitability. More so, all of us are knowing about the climate change. Again, the things which are happening due to climate change, that is increasing temperature or the water scarcity, these all things are adding to his issues or the problems. And then he has to be, having so many solutions to in fact solve many problems at a time. So in science we keep all one thing constant, or we keep variable is one, and the rest of the things are constant. But here there are so many variables, so he has to be able to fight on all sides, and that is not a very simple thing to do. So now we really have to be able to redesign his toolbox, and that is what my company Canvases has been doing for the past many years, wherein we are trying to understand what exactly the farmer is working with, what are the products in his toolbox, and whether we can design his toolbox with the available technologies. And the technologies are not available, then that is the mechanism of innovation. That is where the innovation should be, so that you can solve his problems. So this is with related to the soil health, wherein very few companies are working on soil health and carbon. Then with related to using the fertilizer use efficiency, because earlier I used to in fact know about, if he just added 1 bag of urea or 1 kilogram of urea, he used to get 13 kilograms of yield. But now he's just getting 5 kilograms of yield. So you have to be able to increase the fertilizer use efficiency. He can't just make keep on making losses just to feed us, or it's imperative for, because that is his lifeline. Again with the pesticides, the same problem of the resistance. So there is a drastic need to look at his toolbox and redesign it, so that we stop the degradation activities, and then make him increase his profit by increasing his yield or the quality. So that is the main reason, you can say.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, ma'am. And as far as I understand that in the 1960s, when the first green revolution came across and there was this massive use of chemical fertilizers and pesticides coming across, while we do acknowledge their role in bringing us or our country to food security, availing food security for the past now probably 15 years or more. I believe in the 1990s we were declared, the government declared that we were uh, food secure
Oh,
in our country. And but then it's an also open truth that over the past now decade or so there have been concerns regarding the negative impact that these chemical agri inputs have been placing not only on the environment but also on the soil itself. And soil has been deeply, I mean, or hugely degraded. It is what the concern. And just to mitigate these issues like soil remediation or mitigating environmental impact of chemical agri inputs, what kind of technologies in the biological kitty that we have that can help mitigate the negative impact of these chemical agri inputs, vis-a-vis also trying to complement and both agri and biological agri inputs working in sync, so that they can provide the farmer with a better yield and safer food produce. And so what are the necessary technologies that we have available at this point of time? Maybe what's in the pipeline for the future, if you could just give us a brief on that, ma'am.
okay. So the first and the foremost thing which is to be done is trying to check the carbon in the soil. That is very important, because unless you do that, you are not going to be able to stop the degradation. So when we design the toolbox, we over the years we have been working with thousands of farmers now. So what we really do is, whatever the farmer spends on, we ask him first to divert 10% of his savings to carbon management in the soil. So
Okay.
10% of his all costs have to be diverted to carbon management. Now, carbon management is not just addition of residues and all, but then first of all, the soil testing aspect is going to be very important. The second is use of organic fertilizers or maybe in situ carbon management or use of different manures. That is going to be very important. So 10% of all the costs which the farmer uses on a per acre basis have to be diverted to soil health, as you can say, management. The next 30% of the costs have to be diverted to the microbials, as we call them as biologics. Now, in this 30%, the 10% have to be diverted to biofertilizers. Now, all of us know that biofertilizers were promoted right from 1970s, but nobody really paid attention to them because chemicals were working in a fantastic manner because there was a lot of carbon in the soil. There was some things with related to rhizobium azotobacter. People were working on that, but not much serious work was being carried out in by the biofertilizers. But then the fertilizer use efficiency every year started going down. The farmers had to use more urea. So now biofertilizers definitely, along with carbon, they are shown to improve the fertilizer use efficiency by almost 30%. So the field use experiments have literally shown this, that if you use the quality biofertilizers, you definitely can have replacement studies up to 25%. So that is one of the things. Then 10% have to be diverted to the biopesticides as such. Many a times we see that the biopesticides aspect is not considered to be quite, you can say, what can you, the benefit of the right word, they are not seriously considered alternatives for chemical pesticides. No, they are definitely not alternatives, but there is a concept of improving the inoculum of these, or the number of these yeah, microbes in the field. So that 10% is going to be very important. And 10% is going to be used for the biostimulants, which are used to mitigate the climate stress. Definitely, biologicals are helpful to mitigate the climate stress, but then 10% have to be devoted to that. Then the 30% have to be devoted to the chemical fertilizers, as I was saying, and the 30% as and when needed to the chemical pesticides. So this is the way in which the farmer's toolbox, we have seen exceptional results when the farmer redesigns his toolbox and aims for profitability, aims for proper yield, so that his base fertilizer recommendations can help us in mitigating many of his issues which are there currently in the system, you can say.
Yeah. So, but ma'am, you spoken about biopesticides and carbon intake and all, but what about these recent things going on, biofertilizers, biostimulants? If you could, and the use of pheromones or plant growth regulators, if you could just place
See, if you
some
see
light
the
on.
number of, yeah, if you see the number of actives which are there in the chemical pesticides and the number of actives which are there in biopesticides, there is no comparison right now. But even with the number of actives which are there with biopesticides, which have been registered at CIB, you can incorporate these in your package of practices because they do not have any residue impact on the soil. So there are so many entomopathogenic fungi for controlling different, insects and fungi and nematodes. So all these can be definitely used. Pheromones definitely are used to cause any deterrent in the insect populations or morphogenetic issues in the insect populations. They also can be a part of the biologics, or you can say sustainable practices which are being used right now to reduce the residues in food, because consumers day by day are becoming very much aware of the residues which are there in the food. We have so many instances of poisoning caused by the pesticide residues. Lately, we had the issue of wheat coming in, and in Buldhana, there was a wide hue and cry about people losing their hair because of the use of selenium, which was there in the wheat. So,
Oh,
so many other things are there. Vomiting, in fact, is people. In fact, if they have different kind of symptoms of vomiting and stomach ache, people first of all ask, "Have you eaten grapes or fruits?" In the manner which is causing them such kind of trouble. So there are so many issues which are there which are not coming to light. So many cancers which are there. So there are some health effects, and these have to be looked at. And for this mitigation, there are some soft chemicals which are there, which definitely can be incorporated in the package of practices, so that the population of the pests can be controlled to some extent. And it doesn't, the biodiversity maintenance is very important in the field, because if the biodiversity is maintained, then no pests can grow out of proportion. And if that doesn't happen, then the resistance, which is a problem, especially in high value systems, that can be controlled to a great extent.
Okay. That covers the available toolkits at this point of time in the biological field. Uh, Ma'am, one thing comes across that everybody's talking about soil health, right? At this present moment, across the scientific community, the industry, the farmer, the government itself, soil health is being known to be one of the key areas where we need to all work around. But maintaining soil health or remediation of soil health to its previous stance happens to be a long term exercise and may be considered as a burden towards the farmers' uh, total cost in cultivation. So, how far is it true? I mean, is it true that it will be a burden on farmers, or are there ways that it can mitigate the initial investment in the coming few years or so? What kind of thing can the farmers look at?
So, as I told you earlier, if it is not done, it is a burden. That is how I can put it. Because the soil health has to be, I mean, you have to incorporate some cost for soil health, no matter how small they are to start with. This is what I always keep on telling the farmers. So, you're trying to use biochar, you're trying to use organic fertilizer, you're trying to use some residues, vermicompost, whatever you can do. But you have to be able to start with some carbon, because if you are not going to provide carbon, you are not going to provide the homes for the microbes to live near the roots. And roots are not just anchorage, are not just meant for anchorage. They are there to nourish the biodiversity which is going to be there in the soil, which is going to bring life into your soil. And if you do not bring life into your soil, there are the cycles which are there for the nutrients are not going to be established. And then that is, soil is just going to be some kind of anchorage medium, which will not even anchor the roots properly if there is some stress which is there, because
Okay.
microbes are the barrier between the environment and the plant. So they are the shock absorbers, as you can say, during climate change, during floods, during droughts, because they have their innate mechanisms. So basically, microbes have a very fast generation time. So the mutations which are there for adaptation, they are to a very high degree. So microbes and plants, they are best candidates, and they are in relationship for times immemorial. It's pity that we don't understand the relationships. The second part is, soil health is not a very difficult activity. We have shown that in many crops, the main crops which my company showed the benefit of soil health was in Punjab, Haryana, wherein we devised so many experiments. We conducted commercial scale trials on 30,000 acres. We did around 3 years testing with PAU and HAU for in situ rice stubble incorporation, which is burnt. So
Yeah.
right now, government is trying to produce biochar, or trying to produce some, biogas and other things out of it. But the simplest mechanism is incorporating 2.5 tons per acre after rotavator and spreading it into the soil, creating a good mechanism, because the fields in Punjab are already laser leveled. Water can stay on it. So we recommended use of speed compost, one of our products, and one bag of urea to adjust the CN ratio, and then see to it that the straw is incorporated in the soil, so that 2.5 tons of carbon should not be wasted, because that is the way in which you will be able to save your soils and then help absorb water. Because there are so many good examples whereby 1 kilogram 1% increase in the soil carbon can, thousands of liters of water can remain in that. So you are trying to just not save water by just burning away the carbon, and then keep on digging deeper and deeper every year to feed the rice, which just gets 4,000 liters of water just if you have to grow 1 kilogram of rice.
Yeah. Okay, ma'am. Uh, Food, farmer, and consumer safety is increasingly being talked about in the nation amongst all circles in the society. So, I mean, what do you foresee is the way ahead into mitigating all these issues and trying to get them complementing each other?
So basically, when we decided to work with microbes and then saw their benefits, the main resistance we faced in the market was the compatibility of microbes with the chemical fertilizers or with the chemical pesticides. So the basic thing which we did was to not use microbes in isolation, but then incorporate the microbes in the existing package of practice of the farmer. So that is the way we establish the compatibility of the microbes with different practices of the farmer. We also established the compatibilities of our microbial products or biopesticides with the existing chemical pesticides, and then created a kind of a program which the farmer could incorporate in his soil. Because mainly at times there is a touch me not syndrome for microbes, that you cannot use this if you're using this. Of course, you can't use fungi with fungicides, chemical fungicides, but definitely they can be used. Bacteria can be used with fungicides. So there are some mechanisms by which you can have the tank mix compatibility established and incorporate the biofertilizers and biopesticides in your package of practices. Unlike the chemical pesticides, people don't use chemical pesticides unless they see a pest in the field or unless they see a proper ETL level. So here the mechanism of thought is totally different. You have to start using, well begun is half done. So we recommend use of biofertilizers right from the seed dressing, right from the basal dose, wherein they have to be used along with the chemical fertilizers as granules. Because if they are used in dry forms, there is no activity which is compromised of the biofertilizers. So you have to be establishing different package of practices for using biofertilizers, biopesticides, and even sometimes biostimulants, which may not have the live microbes, which may have the biochemicals, which are in fact products of different microbes or plant or animal extracts.
Okay, so I mean, when we talk about the ETL, economic threshold limit, I believe I personally feel there's something now missing out of the, cultivation practice or package of practices. But yes, because this was increasingly being promoted during the IPM package of practices by the government in the mid 1980s. If I'm not mistaken, the government of India in the mid 1980s had notified that, issued a special circular that Bacillus thuringiensis and Bacillus thuringiensis israelensis should be promoted highly, and they have been promoted till date and proven quite effective in public health also. So that is one thing. uh, the biologicals are treated or have been known to be as part of the sustainable industry growth. How big is this industry, ma'am? And how do you feel that will this industry be able to just help stop degradation, environmental degradation or soil degradation, and maintain the current yields, or do you also see a positive impact of uh, increasing the farmers' income vis-a-vis obviously increase of yield?
So definitely, I see a lot of hope for the biological industry because I don't. In fact, I'm not being too. I mean, I cannot boast about it. But then definitely there are no other solutions other than biologics to increase the farmers' income in such a cost beneficial manner at the current time, you can say. So definitely, as I told you, we have to be able to design the farmer's toolbox. And as regards the market, if the farmer toolbox is 40%, ideally the market also should be 40%. So that is the, well, aim at which you have to be aiming the scale up of these biologicals in the near future. Currently the market definitely is around less than 1% of the chemical fertilizers, as you can say, in biofertilizers, but it can go up to 20 to 30%. That is what is being aimed at in other countries, because Currently, there are so many issues with the chemical fertilizers that we have to be able to look at it differently. With respect to the biopesticides or the pest control, biopesticides have been able to make a better mark than the biofertilizers, which stand currently in India. It stands at around 7 to 10% of the total pesticides market. So roughly there's around 3,500 to 4,000 crores worth of biopesticides, which includes neem also in the current scenario. So the rate of growth of biopesticides is definitely more than the biofertilizers. But definitely, if the soil degradation aspect has to be considered, we also have to be looking at the biofertilizers, how they can grow and expand in the market to the extent of providing the better products, the better quality products, the scale up of the technologies for manufacturing. Because if you have to be able to go up to 40%, definitely the manufacturing research which has to be done on that scale, that is humongous, and that has to be done at a very you can say faster speed is needed in that area. And the biostimulants right now which are coming up into the market to solve different problems related to climate change or stress management, that is also trying to put up the market to a great extent. So that also is trying to be around 2,500 to 3,500 crores right now. The estimates are quite different because right now the market is not standardized to a great extent. So the finding the right kind of figures is difficult. But all over the world it is growing, and the you can say the desire for new products by the farmers is definitely increasing, and the research also is being directed at these problems. So in the near future, if you see, in India also there is a market of around $1 billion if all combined. If you see the biofertilizers, biostimulants, and biopesticides, the soil health management is totally different.
Right. So, ma'am, you are also now the reigning president of Biological Agri Solutions Association of India. So, as an association head, how do you see Basai under your leadership take a, you know take a lead in increasing this kind of biologicals within the toolbox of the Indian farmers and global farmers? Let us also place it like that, the farmers in general. So how do you see this association being working across in that thing? You have got any thoughts on your,
Yeah,
the way you want
really.
to see it now?
I really don't know
Okay.
where to start. I should say that. But as I explained to you, we have to be carrying out different advocacy and stewardship activities because there is a lot of ignorance still and the belief in biologicals that has to be expanded at a greater level, at a deeper kind of a level. And I'm happy that at least now Basai has 42 companies. They're all innovation companies because biologics is there is a lot of innovation happening in this field because new products are coming up, and there's a lot of understanding which needs to be developed to get these products into the market and then give them a platform. And India, I believe, can be the innovation hub for biologics, and we can do many new things, and not only for the Indian farmers but also for the farmers globally. So with Basai, I really aim, we really, with all these companies, we really aim to showcase the talent, the new talent, the young talent in biological sector, and see to it that the government also creates a kind of conditions for facilitating the entry, the regulatory aspects, so that we can showcase the talent for biologics we have for the benefit of the Indian farmers. Because right now we I believe that biological can provide solutions to many of the for the problems in agriculture. So government needs to have a fresh look at the biological sector in a deeper manner, and there have to be a lot of platforms and understanding forums which need to be created, not only at the central level but also at the state level. So a lot of hand holding has to be done with the universities, with the government, with the companies, with the you can say the students, with the farmers. So much of work has to be done, I believe so. I don't know where to start.
No. Anyway, we made a start by having Basai into existence. Uh, But yes, as an association in Basai, we are basically a biological association. But if we look towards our members also belong to larger companies that were initially involved in chemical pesticides, chemical fertilizers, and now have also been roped into new into creating new innovative products, basically biological of nature, which helps us also give an understanding of both sides of the coin at this point of time, with their vision that what made them switch over. And currently, if you see across the globe, every chemical company is wanting to have biologicals within its portfolio, and that's how they're trying to portray themselves.
So
uh,
that
just
reiterates
yeah.
the vision. That reiterates
I
our
beg your pardon?
resolve.
Yeah,
That
yeah, yeah.
reiterates the resolve that okay, biologicals, they're also giving a lot of space to understanding how biologicals can help mitigate their issues also, which they are facing. Maybe the resistance issues, maybe the resurgence issues, which some of the biologicals can solve if they are used along with chemicals also in IPM.
Yeah.
So I'm very
So
happy to welcome all the big companies also because we can learn so much from them.
definitely, definitely. And as far as I understand, regulations and the government initiatives, way back in the 1980s, mid 1980s, the government started promoting biologicals as a tool for introducing integrated pest management. And things did not probably pick up to that extent. But now, in the last decade or so, and with the government pitching in since 2015, if you can see, with the Paramparagat Krishi Vikas Yojana for organic farming, where they came, and then another mission for northeastern India, which Sikkim is the lone state which is fully organic at this point of time. So, looking towards the government initiatives, apart from that, is the promotion of natural farming, which is creating its own agri inputs on the farm itself. But if you see the latest initiative by the Ministry of Chemicals and Fertilizers under the PM Pranam Yojana, where the PM Pranam actually advocates a 50% reduction of chemical fertilizers and replacement with biofertilizers, vis-a-vis where the subsidy is given to the state, which has taken that thing across. So that's one thing, very good. We are very well in time. We are being supported by government initiatives, government policies, which is a good thing. So before we call it a day, we've got two questions, both from Rajashi Ghosh, where he has stated that the government's 2021 push for 100% organic farming in Sri Lanka, led to various disastrous move by the government. Is this due to the absence of biostimulants? Your take on this before I'll just pitch in. Anything you want to say on this part, ma'am?
You have to be, yeah. So if you have to be able to maintain the yields, I mean, we can't ask farmers to just stop using chemicals one day and then expect the same
Yeah,
yields. So
yeah,
there has to be a transition mechanism, and definitely we are trying to study this transition. And the if you have to be able to aim at sustainable, food and sustainable yields, you have to be able to have a transition methodology. And if this transition methodology is not followed in the right sense, that will also lead to a very disastrous thing which has happened in Sri Lanka, which I don't truly advocate.
yeah. I mean, that's what my view is. The question states that, is it due to the absence of biostimulants? But no, it's not just due to the absence of biostimulants. Actually, at this point of time, we can only look upon, by not threatening our food security situation, that we are complementing agrochemicals in a manner wherein we're just trying to reduce the use at this point of time and mitigate the various challenges we're facing on climate change and the environmental impact on this regard. The same gentleman has got another set of question where he has written that, can we use data analysis and artificial intelligence to identify the need for biostimulant in India? So, what is your take on this, ma'am?
So definitely, AI can be used, and we are currently using AI in sugarcane. In fact, in many of the sugar factories, wherein we rely on water management to a great extent. So primarily, like currently, AI is being used to manage the costs of the farmers and use the inputs in a precision manner. So AI can be used for precision agriculture, and there's a lot of ignorance related to the use of biologicals. If biologicals can be integrated into a precision farming methodology, definitely they can be integrated into precision farming, and AI can be used because it can pinpoint the heat stress or the stress conditions where the crop is, and if the products are used only there, definitely it can be used to save water. It can be also used to build the soil properly with the nutrients, with the fertilizers also efficiency that can go up. So, biostimulants or biofertilizers or biopesticides definitely can be used based on the weather data, based on the soil testing conditions. It is beneficial. We have shown an increase of almost 22 to 27% if AI is incorporated into agriculture, maybe in the sugarcane growing areas. We yet have to work in different crops, but definitely it is proving useful. The recent satellite maps are also helping us to a great degree, wherein we have a standardized approach of testing different products on fields across different agroclimatic zones in India using satellite and AI and precision farming techniques.
Thank you, ma'am, for your insight. We have one slight question. This is slightly different. I mean, very interesting that, I mean, cattle based agriculture is ignored. Now, I don't fully understand what the gentleman means by it, but I don't believe it's fully ignored. It is in the thought process coming across. So, what is your view on this?
So right now, when the tractors that took over, people started using more of the chemical. The dependence on chemical fertilizers they increased, but then they stopped thinking about why were chemicals fertilizers they were working in the soil. That was because they could be held on to the soil, particles because of the organic matter. If they are not using organic matter, the chemical fertilizers are going to be washed away. So definitely, animal manures are going to be essential. Organic matter in any form is going to help the soil because soil is literally hungry for carbon. I usually tell the farmers that Einstein is relevant here because Einstein invented a very famous equation: E is equal to mc square. So
Yeah.
M is the microbe, C is the carbon, and the interplay of microbe and carbon is the energy which we are going to keep the soil living and perpetually working for us. So that is important.
And further, I'll say that the uh, Honorable PM Modi's initiative on, natural farming is encouraging livestock
Yes.
agriculture coming across in this regard. The same person, Satish Babu, has also stated a very peculiar thing. I believe it's a comment that we are capable of sending satellites successfully, but enriching the soil where we still stand. I mean, yeah, it's a pitiful situation, but you need to understand that now we've done so much of harm to the soil that it will take some time to regain what it earlier had 40, 50 years, 60 years back.
I am really happy, Vipin, that at least people have started talking about it. When I started
Exactly.
working way back in 19, I should say way back, but then
Yeah.
at least in the last 2 decades, people have started being aware about something is not working. So you should, and what is not working, they have started talking about soil health. And at least if you realize and appreciate, then that is the first step to correct whatever is not working. So good that people are becoming aware of soil health and something should be done about it.
So yeah, ma'am, thank you very much for your insights and the topic improving farmers' tool box with biologicals for their profits also complements the doubling farmers' income. Another initiative by our honorable Prime Minister coming across. So I believe that we are in the right industry. We are in the right mode of action at this point of time, being supported by various government initiative policies, and the intention of the government is fully focused on sustainable agriculture and the use of biologicals in this regard. So ma'am, thank you very much for your insights. I think we'll call it a day, and you've been more the most I mean, encouraging and giving your positive note on biologicals in this regard. And once again, uh, we wish you all the best for your, new tenure as president of BASAI. And we look forward to work across in the coming years to at least see in the coming probably 3-4 years or so, that where we can make a difference, and probably we can continue the this talk further on. So thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you, the
Okay.
organizers, the
Mhm.
Indian
Okay. Thank you
chapter
so
of
much.
commerce. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.